staff, alumni, trustees, and all who share in the spirit and vision of DRBU. We come here today from near and far to witness and celebrate your commencement and your beginning as you complete your time in the program. To officially open this year's commencement ceremony, it is my great honor to introduce President of Dharma Realm Buddhist University, Dr. Susan Rounds, for the welcome address.
Graduating students, DRBU faculty and staff, and honored guests, I'm so happy to welcome you to this 2025 commencement ceremony. It's always such a wonderful occasion, and I'm so happy to be here. At the beginning of every academic year, at orientation and also at convocation, I always welcome the new students into the DRBU community, and I try to give them a sense of what that community is like. But the only way to really experience that is to live in it. And you have done that, graduating students, some of you for 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, even more. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say about your experiences here. But since this year, I am also leaving DRBU, I'd like to say a few things about what being in this community has meant to me. Let me hasten to add that I'm only leaving a job as president. I don't plan on leaving the community. And about 1.5 years ago, I was talking frequently on the phone with my son in Connecticut about my plans to announce my retirement. And my grandson Ben, who was 9 at the time, overheard many of these conversations. And at one point he asked me if I was going to be able to come to his birthday party that year, which would have been in September. And I said, no, I'm sorry, I can't come because I'll be working, but next year I hope to be able to come. And he said, oh right, you're retiring from DRBU, but you're still going to be part of that community that loves and supports you. And as many people here can attest, once a part of DRBU, you are always a part of DRBU. I'm looking at you, Ernie, and I could look at many other people, Ron, and many other people here who are in that group. And you who are graduating will also be part of that community no matter where you go. I could be a poster child for that sentiment because I've been involved with DRBU for almost 50 years. I joined the community many years ago because I was inspired by the vision of the founder, Venerable Master Hua. And DRBU has always been a place where I have unfailingly found meaning, truth, and inspiration. And I'm looking forward to finding new ways to contribute and participate after I retire. Being part of the DRBU community has given me many gifts. It's been an incredible privilege to get to know the students over the years. And because we're still a very small university, I really get to know all the students by name. I get to spend time with them and hear their stories. DRBU students come here to work on transformation, and I know the process works. There's so many examples, but I'm just going to cite one, a student who, at the end of his 4 years here, said, I didn't like the person I was when I came here, but I like the person I have become. I'm leaving here to go out in the world as a genuine human being. Being in the DRBU community means being both challenged and supported. I can truthfully say that this has been my experience as well. I've certainly been challenged intellectually. The life of the mind is very much in evidence at DRBU, and I guess it helps keep my brain cells going. But it can feel overwhelming at times, and I didn't even have to write any papers. So I'm hoping that in my retirement I'll finally have time to figure out what Yogicara is all about. For me, being part of this community has also meant receiving emotional and spiritual support. It has meant recognizing that I have as much internal work to do as any student. My spiritual practice has deepened because of the opportunities to participate in the CEIs over the last 11 years. And there have been many opportunities to work through challenging situations with colleagues and peers. Though through facing these difficult situations together, we have grown stronger as individuals and as a community of Dharma friends. I know that I have learned to be a better listener by being here, a more patient and empathetic listener to others, and a more careful listener to my own inner voice. I'm grateful to DRBU for so many reasons, for everything that I have learned here. But perhaps the most important gift that DRBU has given me, and will continue to give me in the years to come, is hope for the future. Every year I close my remarks to the graduating class with the same message, and I've never felt it more deeply than I do today. This world needs desperately what you have learned at the DRBU. It needs the people you have become. I know that the world will be a better place because you are in it, doing the work that needs to be done in whatever way that work comes to you. May the work that you have done at DRBU support and inspire you as you take the next steps in the journey of your life. All of our good wishes go to you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I have a small favor to ask before we begin. Could everyone please smile? Okay, very good. My work here is done. Such is the power of speech, right? It can do a lot. So I really wanted to put more effort into my speech, but I'm a very simple person. I don't have many profound things to say. But because this is a very formal occasion, I tried to have some sincere reflections. Today marks conventionally the end of 4 years of my life. I didn't really feel them go by, and if I'm being very honest, I'm still 16. In fact, I'm also 12 and 6, and all three of those people live inside of me. And being at DRBU has actually taught me to take care of them very compassionately. These were very luxurious years, thinking about thinking, and seeing that not a single thought that I have had is uniquely produced, and in fact they are simply waves in an ocean of continuous thought that doesn't really belong to me. Obviously I'm very grateful to have the space to think about things like that. Growing up, I moved around a lot. I changed schools on average once every 2 years, which means I learned to adapt quite well. By the age of 12, I felt that I had seen through all of life. I was like an old man, watching my body, my thoughts, my feelings, my relationships fade. I was on a mountain overlooking the sea, and the clouds and mist would gather at my feet. And then I came to DRBU and I was like, wow, this is quite interesting. I felt like I had returned home, and I felt that all three, the 6-year-old, the 12-year-old, the 16-year-old, and even the ageless old man, all of them found things to do that occupied them. All of my interests were funneled into something deeper, more meaningful. And my interests found their place as a way to tap into the soul at an extremely deep place. I recently finished my senior orals, right? And then the day after, I found myself relaxing at Black Oak, reading the Rules and Gallery and taking notes. And I thought, wow, this is quite absurd. Why am I still working but calling it relaxation? And in that sense, DRBU has really, destroyed and reshaped and reforged me. I feel sort of like a newly fired teapot, ready to pour some hot tea. And hopefully there's people that like tea. And yet I haven't changed too much. I'm still a very sensitive soul, and I'm kind of, floating around. There's a poem I would like to share. Apologies. In the hope that it might offer some light, because I think we're in trying times, but we're always alive, and I think that's overlooked but meaningful. This is called Dawn. Dawn ages everything in her dress, warm sunshine, and she dances, gentle, glorious grace descending. And did I mention she ages everything? She ties me, her fingers threading life into me. Tie me to death. She kills me before I was ever born. She binds me with life to this chair, to body, to death everlasting. Every time I awaken, I am ruler of the dead, now beyond that everlasting. Woken by the touch of gold on my skin, and Midas would be so proud. He would weep. She will watch over us. Dawn will smile as we smile, and as we laugh and lament and weep, as we languish. And I lament and I languish too, on this side of the flowing river, behind the curtains of falling sand. This is everything but uncertain. Rest, my daughter, Dawn. I would like to end with a short conversation I had with my cohort mate Taya recently. I asked, can one maintain a thread of awareness through the flowing stream of time? And yet in maintaining it, is the person at the end of the thread still the same person that begun? And she replied, who even names it awareness? Who is watching the thread form from oneself to the next? If we're all fighting towards home, against ourselves even, does it matter who stands at either end? Is a thread in time not just a stream of moments, identities, and thoughts, all transforming and all continuous, rather than two fixed points in time? Anyways, in the end, all I have to say is, if we are dreamers dreaming an interconnected dream right now, I feel really happy to be here, looking at a sea of faces that smiled once. Let this be a mirror of my world, and let this mirror reflect everything else out there. With love, BA Class of 2025.
Thank you, Seihan. Next are the speakers representing the Master's Degree in Buddhist Classics graduating class. Our first speaker is Smita Lahiri.
Well, I guess third time's a charm. This is my third degree and first commencement, so I'm really nervous. I was telling Thomas, I've given so many speeches and been in so many meetings with CIOs, but I've never felt this nervous. But anyway, esteemed guests, faculty, the DRBU Sangha, my fellow graduates, friends and family. First of all, I would like to begin by paying my deepest respect and gratitude to Venerable Master Hua, whom I didn't know of even existed, but whose vision of creating this space where people can come and practice, learn and grow impacted my life. Who would have known a simple Google search would end up in this day where I see my family and my daughter sitting across from me? I would have never imagined this 3 years back. Thanks also to all the monastics and the volunteers who have kept this place alive from the time of Master Hua, because had it not been for them, we would have all not shown up here today. So thanks to them too. I set out on this journey to DRBU without any expectations from myself, what life would bring me, and nothing at all, like walking into a clean slate, just with a lot of blessings. I had met His Holiness the Dalai Lama just before I came here. I met my guru, Jetsulma Tenzin Palmo, who's been my teacher for a long time. My teacher, Venerable Geshe Doji Daldur, who's the most strict teacher that I've had, who is always, making sure that you technically understand the text really thoroughly, and who's been there as a sounding board for me throughout the last 10 years. Venerable Rubina Curtin, who has also encouraged me to come to this program. I was having to mind, leaving my old mother behind, coming all the way here at my age. Am I even thinking right, So she was instrumental in just saying, Smita, just go. Don't think, just go. So I think thanks to all of them that I finally made it here. But coming back to an academic environment after 28 years stepping into a university again did not come without apprehensions. There was so much self-doubt that I would be even able to read all the texts and do what's expected of me. But DRBU, I think, provides the right environment for people like me. And at the age I am, at the mental space I am, and what I'm looking for, I think this provided the best, the smoothest transition from corporate life back to studying, retirement, quitting my job, and coming back into an academic environment. I think that this gave me the soft landing that I needed. So immersing in reading the texts, the sutras and the shastras, something that I always liked, but so it was really easy for me to adapt because that was my anchor. This whole cycle of reading, contemplating, discussing, reflecting, living in my cave. So for those of you who don't know, I did not live on campus, so I got my own place, locked myself up. My guru had spent 13 years in the Himalayas in a cave. So I'm like, I need to do something at least remotely in that direction. So I lived in my cave and tried to keep my minimal social engagements to a minimum. And I think at the end of 2 years, I feel a sense of fulfillment that I didn't know I had set out to achieve. Left to my own devices, I do not believe I would have studied all the texts that I did in the 2 years time frame. I think the curriculum is what made me do it, reading and writing papers. I think those have played a key role in my transformation. I think the experience taught me how to inquire deeply, not just into a text, but to ask meaningful questions and really inquire into yourself and your own practice. The way I engage, the way I read and the way I engage with the text has, it's a skill that I've built here and that I will definitely take forward from here. Many have asked me about my plans for the future. To be honest, I do not have a clear answer. I have never planned my life, more so in the last 10 years. I have just been blowing with the wind. So I just wait for the path to unfold and, my karma to take me where I should go. My deepest gratitude, my really heartfelt gratitude to my cohort. We have shared not only the classrooms, but also a strong karmic connection, because without that we wouldn't be together. And we've had an extremely profound journey together. We are coming from various, diverse backgrounds and experiences. But I think what held and sustained us through the 2 years was this collective quest and yearning for something deeper. We've had the most passionate conversations, but I think at the end they did lead us to becoming better versions of ourselves. Our conversations often began with a text, but rarely did they end there. They spiraled into reflections that were very thought-provoking and heartfelt. To all the faculty of DRBU, I offer my heartfelt gratitude. You've all supported us through this journey of exploration of the text and ourselves, and done so with so much kindness and compassion. I think one word that everybody associates DRBU with is kindness and compassion. You have challenged us to think critically and encouraged us to grow as learners, as practitioners. To all the staff of DRBU, who are the unseen ones, who helped run this university smoothly, and the quiet backbone of my daily experience, thank you to you all too. Thank you to all the direct disciples of Master Hua. We've met so many of you here. Your stories about the Master and all these anecdotes that you have shared have always filled me with inspiration. Thanks to the monthly sits by our chaplain and also the DRBU prison correspondence program which I got involved with. I think both of these have tremendously helped my journey. I really owe a lot to those. And all this would not have been possible without my wonderful family, the small sangha that I have at home. My husband, who's been with me 33 years, is an equal part of this journey. He's a constant partner. For debates, discussions about the Dharma. My daughter, who continually uplifts me with the Dharma insights that she learned from me, by the way. Whenever I need encouragement, I couldn't have been more blessed in this part of my life. Once again, thank you all for being a part of my journey. Every moment, every single moment, every person, and every experience that I've had here has been my teacher because it's exposed a piece of myself to me. I return home with a heart full of gratitude. I wish everyone graduating here today continued growth and joy in every step of your journey ahead. May your paths be filled with fulfillment in every moment. Thank you.
You know what? The bad thing about wearing glasses is when you cry, nobody would notice. But when I just stand right there, I see someone has noticed there's some tear drop from my eye, and I realize, well, this skill may not work anymore. So, about 5 to 6 years ago, when I was here in China, I happened to come across an article from DRBU, which I posted. It was a teaching by Venerable Master Hua in the 80s that talks about, in this Dharma ending age, very few people truly cultivate. And genuine cultivators are as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. In that article, he proclaimed, in order to raise the quality of the Buddhist community and to raise a new generation of strong, dedicated force for Buddhism, he outlined 3 criteria for becoming his disciples. First, one must be able to recite the Shrine Sutra by heart. Second, one must graduate from Dharma Realm Buddhist University. Even if you hold not an academic degree, you must still enroll at DRBU. Third, one must complete a 3-year training program for Sangha and lay people offered at the university. Only then can someone become his disciple and still without the Buddhas. But back then, I already had a deep faith in the proper Dharma taught by Venerable Master Hua. I saw in him the perfect embodiment of true, genuine Dharma. A Tripitaka Dharma master who truly lived up to the name. Wherever he went, the proper Dharma followed. Since he was in America, I believe the proper Dharma was in America. I also reflected that this Dharma, in this Dharma ending age, becoming his disciple will be the most meaningful thing I could do in this life, more precious than gold. At that time, I was running my own jewelry trading business. And after a failed deal, I was hit hard, suffered a major setback, and didn't leave my home for weeks. During that period of isolation, I suddenly felt an urge to read the Sharanama Sutra, hoping to find new meaning and strength for my life. But little did I know, once I started reading, I could not stop. I found the principle in the Sharanama Sutra to be unspeakably wonderful and profound, and the classical Chinese translation of the text was breathtakingly beautiful. Then, out of nowhere, a thought came to me. I wanted to memorize the entire sutra, and so for the next 3 years, I did not sell a single piece of jewelry. I devoted myself completely to studying the Sharanama Sutra and the Venerable commentary, striving to memorize every passage I studied, at least well enough to recall in the next day. During 3 years, my wife supported me silently, although she didn't understand what Sharanama Sutra was, or why I was so committed to memorize it. She rarely questioned me, and remarkably, during that same period, while I had no income at all, her salary tripled, making her one of the highest paid professionals in her field, earning more than many small business owners in the industry. Eventually, she stopped asking me whether I would return to work or not. Then in early 2023, as I was finishing a chapter just before the 50th Skanda demon in the Sharanama Sutra, I happened to visit the Dharma Realm Buddhist University website. That's when another thought arose. I wanted to come to the United States to study Buddhism at DRBU. I was 40 years old with a family, parents, and a kid, and I had been unemployed for 3 years. One day, I casually mentioned this idea to my wife. Without too much hope, I said, if possible, I really wanted to go. But to my surprise, her reaction shocked me. She said, that's a great idea. No, I still remember her look when she heard me say, I want to go to DRBU. Her face lit up, as if she had seen light herself. So here I am. Looking back, I realized after walking the very path Venerable Master outlined for his disciple, first memorizing the Sharanama Sutra, second graduating from the Dharma Realm Buddhist University. And according to his criteria of becoming his disciple, the next and final step for me is to enroll in the 18th Sangha training program. But because I'm now standing here today at this graduate ceremony, I feel I have reported back to Venerable Master Hua for completing his first and second criteria. Lastly, I want to thank all my cohorts who walked this path with me. Meeting all of you has been one of the greatest blessings of my life. You have shown me what it means to have a Dharma family in some way that my connection with you feels even deeper than with some of my own family members. You have helped me understand what Bodhisattva path is, what Bodhisattva vows are, and why Bodhisattva vows, life after life, to rescue sentient beings. With all my heart, I know that saying thank you is not enough. So how about perhaps we meet again in the next year's translation program? If policy condition permits. Finally, I must thank the DRBU community, professors, teachers, and faculty members. You have brought me to this sacred moment, this commencement ceremony, in this very place I once dreamed of spending in the Buddha Hall of Suna Center to receive my master's degree on Buddhist classic. You made my dream come true. If I'm not mistaken, this graduate song called Exhausting Empty Space was written by Master Hua himself. The lyric says, exhausting empty space. The Buddha nature pervades. Throughout the Dharma realm, living beings are nurtured. Living beings become Buddhas. Buddhas transform in multitude. All dharmas are made from the mind. All dharmas are made from the mind. I don't know why, but this song always makes me think of the pure man. So on this note, I'd like to dedicate this marriage of my joy and my achievement to my parents, my wife, my kid, to all my dear Dharma friends, to DRBU community, to all living beings throughout the Dharma realm. May you all well-be and soon attain their path. Amen.
Victoria Pan.
Hello everyone. If you're curious, that touching speech that Will just gave, that's exactly how our class runs. Every one of our classes in the master's class is just like the way Will and Smita have delivered their thanks. And as the youngest member of the master's class this year, I feel like I definitely am not as qualified as each of my cohort mates and my professors, a lot of the cultivators on this campus and in the city are to speak on lofty ideas like emptiness and surpassing, transcending mundane worldly desires. But I ask you to forgive me. Also, my speech is like a little bit long. My students, they gave me a nickname, and it's Yaptoria. Okay, to translate Gen Z language, yap means to talk. And I sometimes during basketball practice, I was a coach this year, I can't help but preach the Dharma to them. And I think the kids sometimes are a little bit tired of it. But I ask you again to forgive me and to read or to listen to my speech just through the lens of my gratitude. I think if there's one thing to take away from anything I say, it's just gratitude, and may gratitude pervade all of empty space. Homage to all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, the Venerable Master Shokwa, Dharma Masters, and all Dharma friends. Good evening, Amitofo. I am honored to be standing before you today and to have obtained the Master of Arts in Buddhist Classics with the help of noble friends and advisors at DRBU, but more broadly, by the merit of the predecessors who paved the way for Buddhism to flourish in the West. This degree means much more than it appears. It was an arduous journey inward to a state of being that resides beyond physical form and the illusions of labels and identity. It was a marriage with the eternal soul within and reunion with the truth of emptiness, which sets us free from suffering. I have this degree due to each one of you who came before me, and everyone present here who dedicated their hard work and selfless service to our final liberation. I am truly beyond grateful for you all. In chapter 7 of the Lotus Sutra, there describes a conjured city of peace and tranquility, a resting place for cultivators on a long and tumultuous path to fulfill past and present vows, to perfect the 100,000 ways to help sentient beings, and to achieve final liberation. In a similar way, people flock from all over the world to this way place, the sageless city of 10,000 Buddhas. It is a home to many, a school for close study of wisdom, and the safest and most caring environment to practice and perfect kindness. This place, above all else, is a strong, boundless abode built from, rooted in, and fueled by compassion. Indeed, it was due to immense compassion that the Venerable Master set out to build this place. Like the kind king in the Lotus Sutra, he wishes to pass on his priceless possessions of wisdom and merit to cause all of us, his children, to leave our pitiful states. Traveling the world, the Venerable Master guided beings and gathered resources to help manifest the city. From every tile laid on up, we are welcomed into the loving arms of Guanyin. In the city, for the past 2 years, I'm rejuvenated because of everyone's love and compassion. To the Dharma Masters, faculty and staff, and volunteers, thank you for your selflessness. On this path, I've learned that ultimately we are to help each other and ourselves achieve a detachment from the usual things which bind us to pain and anger, of which the counter is love, great love. And indeed, every day I'm met with love. The love of my students who humble me with their talents, their love for me. They inspire me with their vigor. The love of my teachers who selflessly offer all their knowledge and diligently employ expedients to guide us at every single moment they can. The love of my fellow peers and friends who heal me with their patience and teach me through their loyalty. Each has shown me the way of love mounts all bounds, all attachments, and all selfish tendencies which grasp, harm, discriminate, judge, and keep us chained to the cycle of life. I want to thank especially my cohort, which is this base on which I've stood for the past 2 years with comfort and ease. Despite the seemingly tougher moments, we do debate a lot in class. But I must correct myself, there are no real tough moments. For every moment I've ever experienced has only sought to show me more about myself, the way I think, the way I react, and the ways I feel. And finally, the ways I still am lacking in my ability to better understand others. These truths are afforded by the love of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and every single one of you. The face of love is not always easy. It is hard to face our flaws and strip ourselves from false and shallow notions of self, because they temporarily give us happiness and satisfaction. Tough love is needed to face the gnarly roots of our discriminating minds, but soft love is also necessary. It is being compassionate, understanding, and soft-hearted, even when it's difficult to see past another's ignorance. Loving kindness guides us when it's hard to make tough decisions and stand by the truth. It is what makes us truly resilient to perform the right actions in the face of external opposers and internal insecurities. In the Sangha, however, I believe the only opposers and insecurities are those who stand to test our love and compassion. But then again, even these opposers are ultimately guides, pointing us to our attachments. For without attachments, we wouldn't have constructed a narrative of hurt and chaos. We should unite with each other, then, if this is true, to accomplish our shared goal of bringing each other to liberation. Our intention matters greatly in this, which is why I speak so extensively about the seed of love above all else. It is this city and my cohort which has allowed me to dwell in compassion, equanimity, and wisdom without being put in the same position of grasping onto relationships, favors, desires, and selfish wants that usually pervade the Saha world. Through tough and soft love, I come to a clearer understanding of the world and have strengthened my vows to help others and myself achieve Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. For that, I'm truly, endlessly, eternally grateful. Thus, I reflect, we must not take a single aspect of this city and our lives for granted. Rather, we should activate the urge and skills within us to better the city and places like it. Through my time here, I have confidently confirmed that we are all each other's Dharma protectors, good and noble advisors, even if it doesn't appear so. We are teaching each other how to be better through tough lessons or deep care. For this, no means, words, and expression on this stage can truly capture my gratitude, awe, and joy. The Metta Sutra says we should practice loving kindness as a mother wishes to protect her only child. I have felt this love and more, firstly from my mother. So to my mom, who flew in from New York City with my siblings, thank you for everything you've taught me. I will serve you, the Venerable Master, and Buddhas and Bodhisattvas for this life, for every life after this. My only wish forward is that we all practice love, kindness, and forgiveness at every turn, on a deep level, not a shallow level, when it's hard, not only when it's easy, and at every moment for the purpose of liberation and nothing else. I hope we do not forget the purpose of this city, our original vows, and that we keep in mind the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, the Venerable Master Shompa.
Certificate program in Buddhist Melbourne.
graduation certificate, and many of you know me as Mira. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to stand here to reveal my gratitude to all of you, my dear DRBU. 1 year ago, I came to you with the hope of learning the skills of translation. But today, I stand here as a gratitude. You have given me so much more than skills, a home, a community, and a mirror to see myself more clearly. I'm deeply grateful to my professors who were not just teachers, but practitioners. From them, I learned not only translation skills, but also humility, compassion, and understanding. My dear DRBU, time has flown. Just yesterday, the day before, I finished my last presentation, and I felt relieved, but also strangely sad. This year passed quickly, but was full and rich. You taught me the power of group work, of humility and mutual respect. I often imagine myself as a still lake, surrounded by mountains. And those mountains are my teachers and friends, pouring wisdom, love, and strength into my heart. My dear DRBU, here I discovered that being humble doesn't mean being small. It means being open. And you taught me that learning is not only about knowledge, but about living teachings, especially through work study. By the way, thank you, friend. Through serving, I found myself. I learned to be sincere, confident, and true to who I am. My dear DRBU, thank you for embracing me as I am, for seeing the value in my handmade cards, clumsy drawings, and translation word choices. My teachers was not only professors, but also classmates, roommates, doormates, and the nuns who washed the dishes with me, who planted the vegetables with me, and who repaired the books in library with me, and also who practiced the ceremonies with me. My sutras are not only in text, but also in moonlight. The trees, the grass, and the river that nourished me, nourished my heart. Thank you, Master Hua, for founding this university, and Susan, along with all DRBU professors, faculty, and staff, especially Yi Fa Shi, Yang Lao Shi, Michael, and special Feda, my professor, for your guidance and encouragement. I still remember the Sanskrit midterm. Then you said, oh no, Mira, we'll fail. But we didn't. We worked far together on the Sanskrit path. Lastly, I thank Venerable Hui and Pure Land communities in Taiwan, Vietnam, and my Harvard University for helping me to come to this wonderful place. This year was short, but complete and beautiful. I will carry everything you gave me and share it with those I meet on my path. Thank you, Daniel, my only cohort mate. Our group was small, but full of joy in Dharma. Thank you to Sidon, Dormes. You are so beautiful and unique. I learned a lot from each of you, especially Sister Sing Sing, Natividad, Ali, Surin, Iwananchi, Lavania. I think I don't have time to mention all of your names. And to Sophie, our quiet, strong door manager. My dear DRBU, if at any moment by my ignorance or my afflictions I brought discomfort or inconvenience to all of you, please accept my apology. You are vast and majestic in my heart. I'm proud of you and I love you. And I think that the big reward after a year I'm here, this is all of you in my heart forever. So just let your splendor devour me. May the DRBU and CTTV communities be peaceful and happy. Thank you so much, my dear DRBU.
Who will offer today's keynote address. Dr. Françoise Devoine is a renowned French psychoanalyst, scholar, and teacher whose work bridges the worlds of literature, trauma, and healing. It has been a true great pleasure to getting to know her in the past few days. Françoise has taught over 3 decades at a school for advanced studies in social sciences in Paris. Her groundbreaking work explores the intersections of individual and collective trauma, especially as they relate to war, madness, and loss. With her late husband, Dr. Jean-Max Galitier, she developed lived experience. Her books have reached readers across disciplines and Yale or in monasteries.
I'm so honored to be there, especially as I had no clue about, I will not say Buddhism, but DRBU. I knew, I met Jin Wai and Xin Shuan. And that was an introduction. But I dived in your world last Wednesday community, experiencing, your community. But then I will speak a little from what I know of Buddhism beforehand. It was through Chan, a little, very little. And these rhythms or those impasses, like coming from a universe of kindness to wilderness, those harsh, no transition, passage is what is in some chant readers, I will tell you, but also what I experienced with patients in the public asylum where I worked 30 years. I tell you once, why. The man who was hospitalized since a long time told me, it's when I'm well that I am bad. And it's when I'm bad, I go bad, that I am well. Answer that, like Master Chan. Answer to that question. Quick. That's exactly the position of the analyst facing those persons who are not neuronally deficient, on the opposite, very keen, very sharp. So, what I understood of that riddle is when you get well, of course, you trust, you are in a universe of trust, so you can bring what's going by, because you trust in order to share it, to process it, to heal it. So that is always this balance. In the commencement, now, dear graduates and teachers, the commencement is like that. It's a step that you cross to the unknown, after all. It's full of promises, of hopes, of course, and also of what is it? What shall I do? I remember myself, at least it was my experience, when I was your age. You come at the beginning. Commencement in French, it's a French word, which means the beginning, commencement. We don't say commencement, we say commencement. It's the beginning, and I remember I changed directions. I went to science, and then changed to literature, and then changed to sociology, and then changed to psychoanalysis, and all those curves were at each time a big question: what will be the future? It was a risk that you take. And now I can say, like I saw on your program, on what you call catalog, thank you. It's like you say strength. I learned that word, strength, are woven. Exactly, now I'm old. All those directions that I found, at each time erupted, like a break, were now woven all together. And that's what I wish for you, to have many directions to weave them. Now, I have one advice to give you, which is very personal. Read, read, read. Of course, books are not enough, and there is a practice, and the practice is, of course, the comparison between analysant and analyst was a dialogue between host and visitor. So when the visitor, he asked her, how you call that, a koan, he asked a koan, and if the visitor cannot answer, sometimes he beats him. That's not very zen in the ordinary language. And reciprocally, when the visitor, the master cannot answer, the visitor can drag him out of his chair. And I can tell you, I am dragged out of my chair in my work very often. That's how you learn. I will give you an example. With those impasses, because very often our work with trauma and psychosis. We are not people who stay silent and wait session after session. We are impelled, we are obliged to react. And so that the young man came to see me. Shall I say where I tried for confidentiality not to say where he comes from, but as you will recognize, I'll tell you the place, Korea. He came from Korea and he spoke good French and he wanted to become an analyst. And he wanted me to train him as an analyst. And I said, no, there are institutes for that. I don't do that. And he said, I've been in every institute in Paris and I cannot relate, I cannot speak there. I feel always outside, I cannot. Okay, so I accepted. His story, he put me out of my chair very quickly. He said, first, he complained, you are too talkative. I retorted, the fight was beginning. I retorted, how can I relate with you if I don't know where you come from? I have to ask questions, I have no clue. So it began like that. During quite a long time, 3 months. Then I discovered that his family was coming from northern Korea, where there are mountains. I come from the mountains. And our mountains spoke together. It's funny, when you come from the mountain, people coming from other mountains, there are some common traits. I don't know, the mountain imposed them. So, there was like a pass between where I come from, where he came from. And then our sessions became smooth. The problem for him was that his parents had to exile themselves from the north when the parallel 30, 37, 38, what is the number? There is a parallel between the two Koreas, closed. And so they had exiled, thinking they could come back, and they had left beloved ones, among whom another child, that they couldn't see afterwards. He was like disappeared. So we worked, and at the end, the last session, this young man said it ended like a Zen encounter between host and visitor. And I will read a letter that he sent me after he returned to his country. So that is a letter. I ask you an enigma. A bird was placed in a bottle where it grew. How can it be brought out without being injured? You then ask me, how can a child be brought out of your heart without hurting you or him? Your question shocked me. We were always in that kind of dialogue. After I left your office, I realized that the child I carried in my heart, like a burden to heal my father, was already outside. I great joy. As you know, many Chan monks experience awakening through a dialogue between guest and host. Buddhist tradition tells us that the one who has achieved enlightenment comes down from the mountain of his own free will to care for the people. The tradition is to sing a song of an awakening, which I did not understand, since I thought it came in silence. Now that I have completed my analysis with you, on your doorstep, I was seized by a fit of laughter. This letter is my song. I did not see him again, except that after perhaps a year or perhaps 3 years, I received a book that I could not read. It was in Korean. Except it was dedicated, I could read my name in the dedication. And he had become an analyst in his country. I tell you that story to answer my question when I came here, of the link between Buddhism, well, at least your community, healing community, that's what I perceived when I came, and psychoanalysis. And there are many, many bridges, and not only bridges, I would say resonance, like in music. Like if you play music, I play another music, and we make harmony between them. And so I want to thank you for this incredible experience, and thank particularly Chin Chuan and Chin Bell who brought me here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, François, for sharing your wisdom and your thought-provoking words with us today. We're truly grateful. Now, it is time for awarding of the degrees. I will invite Dr. Reynolds and Dharma Realm to the stage. Thank you. Okay. All right. Now we'll begin with the bachelor's degree in liberal arts graduating class. By the authority granted by the state of California to the trustees of Dharma Realm Buddhist University and delegated to the DRBU faculty, President Rounds will now confer the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Arts to the class of 2025. First, Seihen Gandingwa. Classics graduating class. By the authority granted by the state of California to the trustees of Dharma Realm Buddhist University and by them delegated to the DRBU faculty, President Rounds will now confer the degree of Master of Arts in Buddhist Classics to the class of 2025. Venerable Vichittasara. Tomas Fletcher. Smita Lahiri. Yang Liu. And Rita Yi. Now, President Rounds will present the certificates in Buddhist translation to the graduating class. First, Bhikshuni Miao E. William. Congratulations to all the graduates of the class of 2025. We wish you every success in the most meaningful ways as you bring your DRBU education into the world. Next, we have a special presentation honoring a very special person, our beloved president, Dr. Susan Rounds. We'll start the segment with a short video.
Talk about a hard act to follow. Video presentation. You already realize that Sue is changing positions. I would say repurposing. The word retirement just isn't in the Buddhist vocabulary. Nor is it in Sue's consciousness, because when Sue retired from running the Dominican program here, teacher training, we then approached her to come out of retirement and serve as president of DRBU. And now she's stepping out of her position as president of DRBU, only to be free and to do whatever she wants to do next. But she's already said that she will remain around, guiding, instigating, supporting, and basically, symbolically, doing what she's always done, which is to knit things together. So on behalf of Dharma Realm Buddhist University, I'm going to read the citation for the conferral of the title, President Emerita, Susan A. Rounds, PhD. Formally, Sue's not stepping down until June 30th, but we're taking the occasion today to make this announcement and presentation. It reads as follows. Susan Rounds, PhD, with steadfast leadership and unwavering vision, led the university through its most formative period from 2014 and culminating in the achievement of its hard-won goal of formal and full accreditation. With her deep academic training, love of the liberal arts around the world. At all times and through every situation, she's consistently displayed the professionalism, perseverance, and exemplary integrity that earned her the admiration and esteem of everyone she interacted with. With a firm and gracious hand, she has shepherded the faculty, staff, and students to excel and flourish in a spirit of true collegiality and mutual respect. An ethic of care and compassion has been the hallmark of Dr. Raum's tenure and will undoubtedly be remembered as her most enduring contribution to the university community. We hope that as President Emerita, Dr. Raum will continue to guide, nurture, and inspire the university community. Presented 24th day of May, year 2025, at the City of 10,000 Buddhas, Ukiah, California.
One of the words I heard over and over again was this sense of gratitude for the care that the graduates received here, but I think every one of us feel by being here. And joining this ceremony that culminates 4 years, 2 years, 1 year at DRBU, one of the practices that we do is we want to take that goodness that we receive and share it out throughout the world. So I invite everyone to please stand up. And we're going to dedicate merit. I first invite you all to just ground yourself in your body. You can feel your feet touching the ground, kind of extending the spine. Taking a deep breath, and as they encourage us, it's a small smile. A smile. This is also an inward smile that touches our heart. And we can just imagine, who do we care about? Who in our heart do we care about? Or what do we care about? Maybe it's a family member who's sick, or an elder who's passing away, or in this world that there's wars and sickness and disasters. Who or what do we really care about? And I invite you all to just imagine all of us here in this room, all with different things in our heart that we care about. And collectively, our care kind of shines out into the world throughout the universe. We see the power of hate. You can see it sometimes when people are really resentful and kind of attacks people. We also see the power of love that melts that. And that's, I think, what we're doing here at DRBU. And this final dedication is one way we express it. The words are on the back of your, what do you call this, commencement program booklet. So you turn it over on the back, it says dedication of merit. So if you know the lyrics and the melody, please join in. If you would just like to listen and just make that wish in your heart, you can participate any way you wish. Okay, so in all face, this is Guan Bodhisattva, the Bodhisattva of great compassion, and we can just send our wishes out to the world, wishing everybody, all living beings, will be peaceful and happy. May every our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace, with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people